Damage report, Rodriguez commanded, wiping blood from a cut on her forehead. Communications offline. Long-range sensors damaged. Life support stable. Propulsion at 70%. Chen responded, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. What about the other ships? All reporting in except Perseverance. They're not responding to hails. Rodriguez closed her eyes briefly. Continue attempts to contact them. All other vessels, continue on course. Maximum speed. When the human fleet arrived at Prisma 10 days later, they found the situation even worse than anticipated. The planet's surface trembled with constant quakes. Entire cities had already collapsed into newly formed chasms. The atmosphere was beginning to vent into space through massive fissures. The Resilience established orbit and immediately broadcast on all frequencies. This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Resilience. We received your distress call and have come to help. Please respond with evacuation priorities and coordinates. For long minutes, there was silence. Then, a transmission came through, the visual feed showing a crystalline being whose body pulsed with shocked amber light. This is First Minister Lumina of Prisma. You actually came. We had given up hope. The Cooperative Council informed us that rescue was logistically impossible. We're here now, Rodriguez replied simply, and we don't have much time. Our fleet can evacuate approximately 2 billion of your people. We'll need to prioritize. 2 billion, interrupted Lumina, her crystalline form flashing confused patterns. But there are 9 billion crystallines. Rodriguez nodded grimly. I know. We're requesting additional ships from Earth, but they won't arrive in time for everyone. I'm sorry. Lumina's crystalline body dimmed momentarily. You crossed the Andromeda Void to save only a fraction of us. We crossed the void to save everyone we could, Rodriguez corrected. Now we need to begin immediately. Where should we start? For the first time in their 12,000-year history, the crystallines felt something unprecedented, an emotion that had no name in their language, but which humans would simply call hope. Defiant salvation. The evacuation began immediately. Human shuttles descended through Prisma's increasingly unstable atmosphere, landing in designated gathering points where thousands of crystallines waited. Each being could fold their crystalline structure to approximately 1/3 their normal size when in a dormant state. But even with this accommodation, the logistics were overwhelming. The planetary core destabilization is accelerating. First Minister Luminet explained as she stood beside Captain Rodriguez in the makeshift command center. Her body pulsed with anxious purple hues. Our scientists estimate complete collapse within 12 days, not the 30 we previously calculated. Rodriguez fought to keep her expression neutral. We'll need to increase evacuation rates. Commander Yamamoto, contact all ships. I want evacuation shuttles running continuous cycles. No breaks, no maintenance delays unless absolutely critical. Yamamoto nodded grimly. That will push crews and equipment beyond safe operational parameters. I'm aware, Rodriguez replied quietly. Make it happen. On the 3rd day of evacuation, the Perseverance finally arrived in Prisma orbit, its hull scorched and damaged almost beyond recognition. Captain Alejandro Torres contacted the Resilience from a backup communication system. Sorry we're late to the party, Maya, he said, his image flickering on the view screen. Lost main engines in the void. Had to rebuild our propulsion system from spare parts. Rodriguez couldn't hide her relief. Glad you made it, Alejandro. We need every ship we can get. The situation's worse than we thought. Torres nodded. We monitored your communications. 12 days doesn't give us much time. No, it doesn't, Rodriguez agreed. And there's something else we've discovered. Lumina, would you explain? The crystalline leader stepped forward, her body refracting the command center lights in complex patterns. The core destabilization isn't natural. Approximately 1 year ago, we detected an unusual vessel at the edge of our system. It emitted a directed energy beam toward our planet for 17 minutes before departing at faster than light speeds. We sent this information to the Cooperative Council, but they dismissed our concerns as unsubstantiated. You were attacked? Torres asked, shock evident in his voice. We believe so, Lumina confirmed, blue-green ripples of distress moving through her form. Though we have no evidence of who was responsible. Rodriguez and Torres exchanged troubled looks. Have you shared this with the other captains? Torres asked. Rodriguez stood before the projection, her posture rigid. With respect, Representative, we've received the distress call. Earth has authorized a rescue mission. We're not waiting for a committee to debate while billions die. Zephyron's ethereal form flickered with what might have been irritation. This impulsiveness is precisely why humans remain on probationary status within the cooperative. The crystalline situation, while unfortunate, requires careful consideration. There are complex factors. There's nothing complex about responding to a call for help, Rodriguez cut in. We'll be departing in 6 hours. Earth Command has notified the Council formally. Resilience out. As the communication ended, Commander Takashi Yamamoto approached. Captain, the cooperative could restrict our future trading rights for this. They can restrict whatever they want, Takashi. I'm not letting 9 billion people die because the Council needs to form another subcommittee. She turned to the bridge crew. Prepare for departure. All stations, full combat readiness. Combat readiness, Captain. Question Chen. This is a rescue mission. Rodriguez's expression hardened. When someone's dying and nobody else will help, you don't know what you're walking into. Better prepared than sorry. The human rescue fleet departed Earth space with unprecedented speed. 8 vessels, retrofitted with emergency life support systems and evacuation modules, accelerated toward Prisma. News of their mission spread quickly through the cooperative communications network. The humans have dispatched vessels, announced arbitrator Xolix at the still ongoing council session. Without formal cooperative authorization, High Elder Zephyron's form dimmed slightly. Predictable. Their species consistently prioritizes emotional response over reasoned analysis. They call it compassion. We recognize it as dangerous impulsivity. Representative Tharsis bubbled thoughtfully. Perhaps there is wisdom in their haste that we fail to recognize. The radiation belt surrounding the Andromeda void lies between them and Prisma, noted Representative Frill. Their shielding technology is inadequate for safe passage. They risk their own destruction. Have they been warned? Asked Tharsis. Multiple times, confirmed Xolix. They acknowledged the warning and maintained course. 16 days into their journey, the human fleet approached the infamous Andromeda void, a region of intense radiation and gravitational anomalies that had claimed countless vessels throughout cooperative history. Radiation levels exceeding safe parameters by 400%, reported Science Officer Patel aboard the Resilience. Gravitational fluctuations growing stronger. The other ships are maintaining formation, but shield integrity on the Perseverance is already down to 62%. Captain Rodriguez studied the sensor readings grimly. Conventional passage is impossible. Options. Chief Engineer Dmitry Volkov cleared his throat. Captain, I've been working on a theoretical approach. If we invert our shield harmonics and create a cascading field between all 8 ships, we might be able to create a temporary tunnel through the worst of it. Theoretical is the key word, Dmitry, Rodriguez replied. Has this been tested? Not as such, no. Computer simulations show a 43% chance of success. And if it fails? Volkov shrugged. Total shield collapse. Lethal radiation exposure within minutes. Rodriguez looked around at her crew, then at the distant images of the 7 other vessels. Over 2,000 human lives under her command. And if we turn back? She asked quietly. 9 billion crystallines die, Yamamoto answered. Rodriguez nodded. Open a channel to the fleet. Explain the procedure. We proceed on my mark. The human ships moved into a tight octagonal formation. Their shields, normally projected outward for individual protection, were reconfigured to create a shared energy field. As they entered the densest part of the radiation belt, the modified field glowed brilliant blue-white, straining against the bombardment of deadly particles. Alarms blared across all vessels. Power fluctuations caused systems to fail and restart. 3 crew members on the Determination died when a power conduit exploded. The Hope's main reactor nearly went critical before emergency protocols engage. Shield collapse in 40 seconds, shouted Patel, her console sparking from overload. Divert all non-essential power, ordered Rodriguez. Life support to minimum. Weapons offline. Everything to shields. The ships pushed forward, trailing ionized particles like comets. The human crews worked frantically, making constant adjustments, fighting for every meter of progress. When they finally emerged from the void, all 8 ships were damaged. The Perseverance had lost its primary hull and limped along on auxiliary power. 37 humans had died, but they had passed through. Not yet, Rodriguez replied. I wanted confirmation from Lumina first. Now we all need to know. She turned to Chen. Open a channel to all fleet captains. Priority Alpha. Within minutes, the command crew of each human vessel was connected via secure communication. Rodriguez explained the situation succinctly. So this isn't a natural disaster, concluded Captain Ivanova of the Determination. It's an attack, and the cooperative knew. We don't know what the cooperative knew, Rodriguez cautioned, but they certainly didn't take the crystalline's concerns seriously enough. The question is, why? Asked Captain Okafor of the Hope. Who benefits from destroying Prisma? That's a question for later, Rodriguez replied. Right now, we have 9 billion people to save and less than 12 days to do it. Ideas. Engineer Volkov stepped forward, his weathered face grim but determined. Captain, I've been analyzing the crystalline biology and the planetary destabilization. I think there might be a way to save more people than our ships can physically carry. All eyes turned to him. Volkov brought up a holographic display of Prisma's deteriorating core. The crystallines are silicon-based life forms with a unique ability to enter a completely dormant state. In this state, they essentially become inert crystal formations. If we had enough time, we could potentially convert them to a data pattern, essentially digitizing their consciousness and physical pattern, then reconstitute them later. Like transporters in old science fiction, asked Torres. Similar concept, but on a massive scale, Volkov confirmed. The technology exists. We use pattern buffers in our emergency medical transporters. The problem is scaling it up and storing the data. Rodriguez studied the holographic display. What would you need? A planet-wide network of pattern scanners, and a storage system big enough to hold the patterns of billions of beings. We don't have that kind of storage capacity, Yamamoto pointed out. Volkov nodded. No, we don't. But we wouldn't need to store everyone simultaneously. If we establish a receiver array in a safe location, we could essentially string the patterns through subspace and rematerialize them at the destination. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. That's never been attempted at this scale, Chen said finally. The power requirements alone would be enormous, Volkov finished. We'd need to repurpose our ship's drive systems to generate enough power. And even then, we'd only have one shot. Rodriguez looked to Lumina. This would require your people's complete cooperation. They would need to enter dormancy state in precisely coordinated groups. We will do whatever is necessary, Lumina replied without hesitation, her form glowing with resolve. But where would the receiver array be located? Rodriguez stared at the holographic display, watching the deterioration of Prisma's core accelerate before her eyes. A dangerous idea formed in her mind. Earth, she said finally. We'll set up the receiver array on Earth. The reaction was immediate and vocal. Objections about security risks, technological limitations, and diplomatic implications erupted from all sides. Earth is over 30 light-years away, Yamamoto protested. The signal degradation will be considerable, Rodriguez acknowledged. But Earth has the most advanced pattern buffer technology in human space, and unlike the cooperative, Earth will welcome refugees without a committee meeting first. She turned to the communications array. Chen, establish a direct channel to Earth Command. Priority Omega. We need to speak with Admiral Harrison immediately. What followed was the most ambitious engineering project in human history, conducted under the most extreme time pressure imaginable. Earth mobilized every available resource, converting orbital habitats into massive receiver stations. On Prisma, the human crews worked alongside crystalline engineers to establish the pattern scanner network, cannibalizing their own ships for parts. The first test transmission will include 1,000 volunteers, Volkov explained to the assembled captains on day 7. Dark circles under his eyes testify to his exhaustion. If successful, we'll scale up immediately. If not, he didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone understood the stakes. The test transmission was scheduled for the following day. Prisma's core had deteriorated so severely that massive sections of the planet's surface were now breaking apart. 3 major cities had already been evacuated, their populations crammed aboard the human vessels or waiting in dormancy state for the pattern transmission. As final preparations were made, a cooperative council vessel appeared in the system. The sleek, advanced ship dwarfed the human fleet in size and technological sophistication. Captain Rodriguez, this is High Elder Zephyrin of the Cooperative Council, came the transmission. We have been monitoring your activities with concern. The technology you are attempting to deploy violates cooperative safety protocols. We must insist you cease immediately and withdraw from Prisma space. Rodriguez stood on her bridge, staring at the ethereal form of Zephyrin on the view screen. With all due respect, Elder, we're trying to save 9 billion lives. Your safety protocols can wait. You misunderstand, Zephyrin replied, his tone unchanged. This is not a request. The energy discharge from your proposed pattern transmission could potentially affect nearby systems. The Council has voted. You will cease operations or face sanctions. Rodriguez felt a cold anger rise within her. Where was this concern when the crystallines reported being attacked? Where was the cooperative fleet when billions faced extinction? You had months to act, and you chose to debate instead. The situation is more complex than you understand, Zephyrin responded. There are political considerations. There are lives at stake, Rodriguez interrupted. We're proceeding with the evacuation. If you want to stop us, you'll have to do it by force. The communication ended. Rodriguez turned to her crew, who watched her with tense expressions. They won't fire on us, she said with more confidence than she felt. Continue preparations for the test transmission. Hours later, as the final adjustments were being made to the pattern scanner network, the cooperative vessel moved into position between Prisma and Earth. They're creating a signal interruption field, reported Pidal, her voice tight. If they activate it, our transmission will fail. Rodriguez clenched her fists. Open a channel. Zephyrin's image appeared once more. Captain, I urge you to reconsider. The cooperative cannot allow. I don't have time for this. Rodriguez cut in. You have 10 minutes to move your vessel or explain to 9 billion crystallines why you're condemning them to death. This is not about the crystallines, Zephyrin replied, his ethereal form darkening. This is about maintaining order. Your species is too young, too impulsive to understand the delicate balance. 9 minutes, Rodriguez interrupted. And for the record, I've ordered all weapons systems online. Zephyrin's form flickered with what might have been surprise. You would fire upon a cooperative vessel. That would mean permanent expulsion from the cooperative for Earth. 8 minutes, Rodriguez responded. And yes, I would. Every human in this fleet would. We didn't cross the Andromeda void to be stopped by politics. For several tense minutes, the standoff continued. Then, unexpectedly, 3 more vessels appeared in the system. Massive ships with distinctive configurations. Captain, called Chen, we're being hailed by the new arrivals. The view screen split to show 3 different alien species, none of which Rodriguez recognized immediately. "Captain Rodriguez," said the first, a being with iridescent skin and compound eyes. "I am Ambassador Thrix of the Entoven Federation. We have monitored the situation. We are here to assist." "And I represent the Solarian Collective," added the second, a gaseous entity contained within an environmental suit. "We too wish to help." The third, a being composed of what appeared to be living metal, simply nodded. "The Forge Consciousness stands with humanity in this endeavor." Rodriguez felt her throat tighten with emotion. "We welcome your assistance, but the cooperative vessel is blocking our transmission path." Ambassador Thrix's compound eyes gleamed. "High Elder Zephyron, the Entoven Federation formally requests that you relocate your vessel. We will take responsibility for any consequences of this evacuation effort." The other representatives made similar declarations. Faced with the combined diplomatic pressure, Zephyron's vessel eventually moved aside, though not without a final warning. "The Council will remember this defiance," Zephyron stated. "All participating parties will face review." With the path clear, the test transmission proceeded. 1,000 crystallines in dormancy state were scanned, their patterns converted to energy, and transmitted through subspace toward Earth. For 17 agonizing minutes, everyone waited. Then came the confirmation from Earth. Pattern reception successful. All 1,000 subjects successfully rematerialized, proceeding with full-scale operation. A cheer erupted across the human fleet. Over the next 4 days, working without rest, the combined forces of humans and their new allies managed to save over 8 billion crystallines, transmitting them safely to Earth and the allied worlds that had joined the effort. On the final day, as Prisma's core reached critical instability, Captain Rodriguez stood with First Minister Lumina and the last group of crystallines waiting for transmission. "My people will never forget what humanity did for us," Lumina said, her crystalline form glowing with a warm golden light. "When no one else would act, you risked everything." Rodriguez smiled tiredly. "It's what we do. It's who we are." "The cooperative called it anger," Lumina observed. "This drive that pushes you to act when others hesitate. Maybe it is a kind of anger," Rodriguez admitted. "Anger at suffering, at injustice, at unnecessary loss. But we call it compassion." As the final transmission completed successfully and Prisma began its terminal collapse, the human fleet departed alongside their new allies. Behind them, a world died. Ahead of them, a new relationship between species was born. 3 months later, Earth formally withdrew from the Galactic Cooperative. In its place, a new alliance was formed, the Humanitarian Accord, with Earth, the crystallines, and the species that had come to their aid as founding members. When asked by reporters why humans had risked so much for an alien species they had never met before, Admiral Harrison gave a response that would become famous throughout the galaxy. "Because they asked for help, and because no one else would. In the end, that's all the reason anyone should need." Throughout the galaxy, the story spread of the angry humans who had defied the established order to save billions. Some civilizations dismissed it as recklessness. Others watched with growing interest. But all understood that a new force had emerged in galactic politics, unpredictable, impulsive, and absolutely unwilling to stand by while others suffered. Humanity had announced its true nature to the stars, and the stars had taken notice.